what people sometimes don't understand in jiu-jitsu. You're never gonna train on the same way every day, like
Yeah.
and against everyone. When sometimes you avoid, let's see like that, you avoid someone that 300 pounds.
Right.
It's not that, oh, the guy's a coward. No, you're saving yourself. Like,
Right.
ask for that 300-pound guy if you want to train someone that is 600 pounds. He won't.
Right.
That
Right.
like big guys, they have that. It's funny to say, but the big guys, they don't like to train against the guys. You're gonna, and then again, some big guy that I listen to us and, oh, I like to train big. Okay, so
Right.
train with a big guy every single day, multiple of them, not just one. Like,
Right. Yeah.
take like 6 every single day, 2 times a day. Do that for a year, and then we talk again. They
Yeah.
don't,
Right.
you know.
Sure.
So when you do that, of course you're gonna train with them once in a while, not against big guys. 90% of our gym are
Oh, are just
like
huge.
two,
Yeah.
and I'm talking about like 230 plus. I'm not talking about 200-pound guys, like 230 plus, right?
Right.
And 230, I'm still happy to roll with, but we have some quite big guys. Anyway, you need to preserve yourself a little bit because
Right.
everything changed. Like your game will be different. Your, if you like to play guard, especially, like, is way more weight to handle on, not about, oh, the technique is perfect. It is, but you need to use your body to the technique. And
Right.
when you have that amount of resistance in a specific place, you might gonna get over time like injured,
Yeah.
like, or uncomfortable.
Right.
So you need to be smart, like the way how you train, how intense you're gonna train, against who you're gonna train,
Right.
and that's like is every day. It's not like, oh, I'm gonna do this for 6 months, another 6 months. No, on the same day you're gonna train in 10 different ways.
Yes.
That's how you're gonna be able to keep training for a
Yeah.
long time.
So I would say this, Professor. I mean, we talk about like being comfortable with being uncomfortable, right? We talk about like lessons on the mat you take off the mat with you. So when I listen to you talk, I mean, I think uh, the one of the words that comes to mind is wisdom, right? So you have to be thinking about your experience in jiu-jitsu, in my opinion, in life in general, about what does the circumstance require, and that if all you have is a hammer, then everything is a nail, right? That's the cliche. So if you only got the one tool, then you bring that tool to every problem. And jiu-jitsu requires you to figure out, well, I don't need 1,000 tools, but I need like 5 good tools and maybe 10,
uh,
like 5 really good ones and then 5 that I'm good enough or whatever. And then in the circumstance, if I'm so outmatched from a strength and weight perspective, what can I learn in this moment? And in life, right, we come up against problems, some of which are solvable, some of which aren't, right? I mean, there are times in which something happens
mhm.
and your job is to accommodate how you feel about it, how you
Yes.
behave in the context of it, how you let it shape you. Does it shape you into an angrier person, into a sadder human being, or does it deepen your capacity for compassion, right? And
Mhm.
so as we develop tools on the mat and we realize we're unlikely I will be doing very few flying triangles as my my takedown. I'm unlikely to be inverted much in it. But you know what? You may find yourself in a good collar drag when you're standing up against me. Now there are things that I can do, and I can get better at that. So I think that this is for um, if you're listening, maybe you're listening because you jujitsu is in your life, and then you left it and you're listening to the podcast because you're trying to think, do I want to do this again or do I don't? As an older athlete who's a beginner athlete, to that group, if you're listening, I would say come back in with the humility to say, listen
Yes.
to yourself, okay, I'm going to do this. I can be really effective even among the bigger, stronger, more prepared folks if I just take a long-term view. I don't need to win any given day.
Yeah.
I've already decided. And then I do have to work a little bit on days when like I feel like I didn't do anything right. Like I know better and all that. But instead of like feeling bad about that, I've tried to be like, consistency is better than intensity. So I'm just going to like keep coming and just let time work on me, and then try to be thoughtful about the time, try to be a good student, try to listen, try to adjust every day a little bit, and then hope that those small changes over time produce, really good results. So
Yes.
anyway, just to kind of connect what we were saying to outside the mats, beyond jiu-jitsu, all of us has things we fall in love with initially. Something disrupts that relationship, and that it's a relationship that we should retain with the person, with the thing itself. And patience, understanding, flexibility of approach, maybe a recalibration of the expectations of what you think it should be versus what it could be.
Yes.
I think those are all things that matter. I mean, as we kind of head towards the end here, I mean, if you were to think about maybe how you've applied those skills outside the mat, I mean, would you agree? I mean, is there anything you would kind of add to that?
Agree 100% on what you're saying. Winning all the time won't take you longer, right? Like,
Yeah.
because on the first defeat that you have, you don't know what
Yeah.
you do because you
Yeah.
never deal with that before.
Right.
All the stories about the most successful people in the world, they fail so much until they achieve like one really good thing,
Yeah.
and then they find the recipe. But also the most important part, like they have the resilience on keep going when
Yes.
things fail over and over and over, and that
Right.
just make them like
Yes.
stronger and understand all the different situations and just little by little committing less mistakes. And that's jiu-jitsu. Like
Right.
everyone that I know that was winning too much all the time for all specific trainings, all sparrings at the gym, all open mats,
Right.
right? Or maybe even tournaments, when things start to shift, they quit.
Yeah. Yes.
They quit right away because the athleticism is not working anymore over the technique.
Right.
And you need to be humble. Like if you focus on winning all the time, and when I say that, I don't want to sound like a world of rainbow and unicorns,
Right. Right.
like don't focus on the winning, let's just have
Yeah.
fun, enjoy the
Right.
moment. It's not that. But jiu-jitsu is different. Jiu-jitsu is for us, for me, for you, I
Yeah.
believe is
Yeah. Yes.
the most applicable like art that can translate to life.
Yes.
You know,
Well, I
so
mean,
if you
that's,
focus
yeah.
on the small victories all the time, like on the winning all the time,
Right.
something happened, you won't get back from that, and you're gonna be that frustrated person, the depression, anxiety, and all this.
Yes.
Have the moment, enjoy what you're doing on that, and the small victories will happen, but don't focus on that. That's a
Right.
just consequence of the work, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, those words, I love the word resiliency that you use, because if I was to say like 3 characteristics of people who have longevity in anything they do, um, personal relationships, professional pursuits, athletic pursuits, all of which, require resiliency, because you may think it's going to go a certain way and it
Yeah.
rarely goes the way you think it goes. So
And
they're going to,
adapting, right? And adapting to for the environment, for your injuries, for
exactly.
whatever you need to adapt.
To me, that's about grit. So like
Perfect.
resiliency and then grit, because grit requires you to say, okay, it didn't go the way I wanted it to go, but you keep going. And if you do it smart, then you do it as you adapt, rather than take the one tool, that take that hammer and smash all the nails of, problems. And then humility, because,
Yep.
if you have a disposition that goes, I'm here first to learn, and whatever it is you're chasing, rather than, because if you're open to learning, then you're open to being changed, and change means growth. There's that expression, everybody likes progress, but nobody likes change. Like I want to be a black belt, but to me to be a black belt means that I have to change 10 million times, and that
Yeah.
change happens each time I come to class and focus that I need to take advantage of that tiny increment towards,
That's perfect, Peter.
right? I mean, and I
Yeah.
think that applies to everything. So we invite you to jujitsu, and for those of you who are, if you're listening, because you're enjoying sort of the nature of the conversation that's non-jujitsu, thank you. We appreciate you listening. But we really think that you should take a chance, like go do what we've suggested in our previous episodes, to go try it, and then see it, if you're an older athlete, that it's not just a substitute for going to the gym. It's not just an exercise, and it's not just a martial art. Both of those things are present there. And it's not just a community, although all three of those things are critical. But it's an avenue for you to become the best version of yourself. Because if you approach it with resilience, humility, with some grit and the ability to adapt, and you take those off the mat, it's a really wonderful place to develop skills that just will change everything. So if you haven't tried it, let us just continue to ask you to look for the right place. And if you've tried it and come back, maybe and you're thinking about coming back, we hope you do the same. Like, go find, if you've moved, maybe you had a great experience in one city and now you're in another city or another state, another country. It doesn't mean that you can't find something really good again. So try that and be resilient. Come back and, all right, you were a purple belt, but you've been out for 5 years. Your skills don't need to reflect. It's okay. Just come in and have the humility to be like, I've been out for 5 years. I'm not the athlete that I might have been. And my guess is you're going to be even better in the long run. And then for those of you who are listening, you are practitioners, try to apply these things in your current training. So that way it makes it more fun to stay, because it shouldn't be like longevity is because people can grind it out. It should be longevity because you have a joyful experience. And when you go, you're filled with, you're having fun. You're learning.
Yeah.
Right.
You need to have fun. Like, that's the only way that you'll be able to do that for so long, because you're not getting well paid to do that. Right. So it doesn't have other reward but fun and connection and community and everything else that you were talking about. So you need to have fun. Like, make sure you're having fun when you're doing jiu-jitsu.
The brain and the body orient itself towards the things that it likes. And so if you're just, things that are uncomfortable, like training in any sort of physical things, it has to have the seeds in it that go, well, this is actually enjoyable because I like how I feel afterwards and all the rest of it. However, on balance, if you're not having fun, then I guess there may be somebody out there in the world that jiu-jitsu isn't for. So if you're like, you really, really don't like it, okay, it may not be for absolutely everybody, but we think it's for most of you and the vast majority.
I'd say that jiu-jitsu is for everyone, not everyone is for jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. Well, it's funny, as you left jiu-jitsu for your time to study and to do that, jiu-jitsu never left you. It was still in your mind and you were still thinking about it. Yeah. And for the older athletes that have, your career is in a position where it really takes a ton of time, and maybe your kids take a ton of time. If you take this longevity view, then it's okay to come in, train when you can, as much as you can, and just take little bites. If you can only come in 1 day, 1 week, that's better than coming in 0 days that week. If you can't spar, it's still good that you come to class. If you can only spar, come in and do that. Take 20 minutes rather than an hour and a half. Keep staying connected to the people and the practice. It's worth it. Well, for those of you listening, we are recording on December 23rd, so right the day before Christmas in 2022. So for those of you listening in the future, those of you who celebrate Christmas, we wish you a Merry Christmas. And for those of you who do not, we wish you a Happy New Year. And we will be back with you shortly. Anything else, Professor?
No, Merry Christmas, everyone. Great holidays.
Happy holidays. All right.